It's now time to discuss Palantir, I believe for the second time for FOMO this week, but definitely warrants our attention when it's down over 6%. So on some interesting reports here, Marley Kayden is joining us, of course, in studio to help us break down this news where the Army is flagging these high-risk flaws in their network project. So walk us through this story.
Yes, Reuters is reporting that it has seen an Army internal memo about this new prototype that was developed by Palantir alongside a private defense tech company called Anduril that has some cybersecurity concerns flagged in this memo over this new battle communications system. The Army memo was reportedly written by the chief technology officer, citing some deep weaknesses and saying that the project needs to be handled as, quote, very high risk. This is about the next generation command and control prototype. They said it has structural flaws, including uncontrolled user data access and unassessed third-party code inside of it. The memo reportedly says that in this new comm system, any authorized user can view all applications and data, irrespective of their clearance or their operational role. There's no auditing or logging of user actions, and that the system lacks controls that distinguish access based on needs. So there's no sort of, governmental clearance expected. I think when we talk about these things, we think of, what kind of clearance does someone have and how much of something can you access? This appears to be that if you've been granted access, you can access all of it, and there doesn't appear to be any kind of backlog tracking who's in what parts of this communication system, which obviously could have some major security concerns there. The report also cited a further concern, an outside concern, that there were embedded third-party software components that the Army never vetted. One module reportedly contained 25 high-severity flaws, and then 3 more each harbored more than 200 different vulnerabilities, according to this memo that Reuters says that it's seen. And following this stock, Jenny, you mentioned shares are under pressure here, down about 6.5% today. Also the second most trending equity ticker on Stockwits right now. But I do want to make a note that while this is not a positive report, and we're certainly seeing some downward movement because of this, lots of the commentary around this, particularly on the message boards and on Stockwits, et cetera, is that this is in fact a prototype. This is not a deployed communications system. This is not something that the government is actively using. This is not a product that has been put into practice. It is in testing, which, what testing is for, is to find things like this. But certainly you don't want to find many issues or be flagged as something that could be potentially high risk or very high risk.
No doubt. Does still seem to be a stock that at least those who are big time believers in AI, the Dan Ives of the world, see as one that you can't ignore. I think I saw a note broadly from Dan Ives today basically saying $1 trillion market cap opportunity, citing Palantir and specifically. I know Piper Sandler has talked about this stock, calling it an all-star at times. I know it's getting to that valuation piece, but it seems like a stock that people believe in if they believe in AI.
I mean, it's not hard to. Year to date, up 130%. In the past year, 345%. So if you've been a believer in that, you believed in it and invested your money or your client's money, it has certainly served you well to be in Palantir. But a lot of the commentary on this is also that this is not Palantir's only bread and butter. This is not the only thing it has going for the government. The Golden Dome system project keeps being mentioned repeatedly, and that could be a potential major growth driver for Palantir, that they really stand to benefit from the president's push to have a Golden Dome. Some potential prototype conflicts there, as Anduril, who's also mentioned in this Army report, and Lockheed Martin are building prototypes for Golden Dome as well. But Palantir has been heavily favored by the administration so far. So a lot of the commentary is that there'd be no reason to believe they wouldn't be a strong front runner to get that contract as well.
Yeah, and I think that as far as Palantir goes, right now it's definitely shown us that it's able to diversify. Its revenue streams. It's not as reliant on just, the government anymore as it used to be, although the government's been a huge boom for it. So I think it makes sense to see a pullback on this type of news, just because we've been so much tied to defense spending, which has been so strong for Palantir. But it's a commercial side of its business is also continuing to improve. So I think you could make the justification for either sort of reaction today, but clearly not seeing a positive day today for Palantir, a day that's still one of our best performers in the market.
Yeah, and they have a lot of avenues for growth. This is not a positive report. You never want to be mentioned in any of these chat rooms or forums, but But as I did sort of go through just to see what sentiment was, sentiment is still that Palantir is a well thought of bullish play, seems to be the broad market analysis as I was looking even in the wake of this report.